Hi, good morning. 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. Yeah, 1, 2. Welcome to the Sunday morning stream. Which I do most Sundays at 10 a.m. and I do most Thursdays at 8:30 p.m. live on this YouTube channel. Oh, I can't see it now. So the way this usually works is I sit for a bit, I talk for a bit, I go on Skype for a bit. You can call in or message me on Skype for a bit, and then I say goodbye, and then I log off, and then that's it. That's how it normally works. It could be different today, but that's how it normally works. That's the normal routine. Sunday, Sunday. Oh, my water's gonna tip. Put my legs up. Get myself comfortable. Have some flowers in the background, as you can see. The tree in the background. Here. This is a really funny, a really funny subject to talk about. Can you hear me? Yeah. A really funny subject to talk about. Because it's not something in this world, in this manifestation, it's not a thing. And therefore you can't really point to it, you can't really describe it, you can't do anything really. You can't say it's this, and therefore it's this thing here. This is the answer. What you long for is this object. You can't do that. So it's a really weird thing to talk about, that which isn't. That which isn't. And yet, that which isn't is what's being looked for. That's where the feelings of peace and joy emanate from. That which isn't. And all the teachings not just spiritual, but just the teachings in life, in films, in songs, it's all pointing to that which isn't. We call it love or God or whatever we call it, but it's pointing to that which is before form, let's say. That which was in the beginning, let's say. That which is omnipresent. That which is all things. But isn't itself any particular thing. that which isn't in form, and yet is all form. And that's what is looked for. That's what is looked for. And when feelings of peace or joy or love appear, the mind imagines it to be because of something. The love, the peace, because of an object, because of something. And so we're chasing these things to experience that joy, that peace, that freedom, that love. Believing those things are what make it happen. And it seems that way, that those things make it happen, but it isn't those things. It's what this is. It's just those things seem to getting the thing that is longed for seems to stop. The seeking seems to temporarily be enough, be fulfilling. The mind's happy, it's got it, and so it can relax and open to what already is. So it seems as if that thing that was attained was the source of that joy or that love, that completion. But it obviously isn't, because within time, then that thing stops doing it for you, stops being. I'm just going to lower the light. I keep seeing flickering in the background. Oh, it's the cars, I think, going past the window. Yeah. So it can't be in those things as objects. If it were, they would always produce that sense of love and completeness. You wouldn't need to run to the next thing. You already have it. So this isn't about things then. This isn't about acquiring things. This is pointing to something beyond that. Beyond that. Doesn't mean the human doesn't, in this world, we do attain things, we do get things, move towards things. So it isn't about that not happening. It's more, that's not the freedom. That's not the freedom. So in these talks, not just here, but in these non-duality talks, it's a conversation or a investigation into what this is. Into what this is. Into the illusion of this being separate individual people experiencing life. Of this being a separate reality. It's a remembering or a revealing of what this has always been. always been this freedom living, life appearing, life happening for no one. And yet in that appears an appearance of a human that seems to be independent, seems to have choice, seems to be involved. But it's investigation into that being a truth. Is that really somebody? What was it, Jim? Is that character, is that story of someone a reality? Does it really belong to a separate someone in the body? Like, is there really someone sitting here? Is there really someone listening? Is there really someone breathing? Or is that just happening? Are the sounds of these words just happening? Is the breathing just happening? Are the objects just happening? Is the description of someone being here, listening and breathing, is that just happening? Or does it belong to someone? That's the investigation that's happening. But it's not like you can believe what someone is saying. You can't just like take it on as a belief. Maybe initially you can agree with it and believe it and love it and enjoy it and feel like a relaxation that happens in hearing that. But it seems to be a part of this awakening where you understand and you agree or believe or feel a resonance with it. But it has to become the experience. It has to go past just a belief or an agreement. It has to be explored and revealed to be the way it is. Otherwise, it's just a belief, a mental belief. And there will still be suffering, there will still be identification happening. But there will be this mental belief repeated, oh, it's just happening, there's no one here. To try and deal with that uncomfortability, to deal with that discomfort, the agitation, that seeking, oh, there's no one here, there's no one seeking, there's no one uncomfortable, it's just happening. That isn't gonna, I don't know. But it's just what happens. It's just what happens. So what is looked for isn't in this world. Isn't in this world. Therefore, it can't be a thought. It can't be an idea. It can't be a subject. It can't be a religion. It can't be a person. It can't be a friend. It can't be an animal. It can't be food. It can't be a feeling. It can't be joy. It can't be anger. It can't be happiness. It can't be anything. Not a thing. Not a thing. But there's something here that's not a thing, but it is. It isn't. It's not touched by anything that appears. I think some call it consciousness or pure awareness. I prefer not a thing. Not a thing. Okay, so I'll go on onto Skype. Eggs are yeah, eggs are a bad one. That was from last week, I think. Active. My phone's on vibrate. Because I know that I find when I get a notification, I jump out of my skin. I think I have a very sensitive nervous system. I really do. No internet. I was connecting. Hi, Sandra. Hi, Rebekah. Thanks so much for your YouTube videos. Oh, it seems simple to know. Why is it so hard to see this? Yeah. Because you aren't the one that's going to see this. That's why it's so difficult, because there's an idea of you that is trying to see this or thinks it's going to see this. That's why it's difficult. Whereas this seeing isn't a personal seeing. It isn't the mind-made eye seeing anything. So that's why it causes problems and difficulty, as the mind's trying to work it out, the mind's trying to see this, but it isn't for that person, it isn't for that mind. That's all. It's quite simple, really. Because that mind's been, sorry, I've got a hair in my eye. That mind's eye's been identified with for so long, energized, and been the focus of everything. It's been about me, about this eye. It's just been felt to be the driver, the reality for so long, the story of someone. So because of that, it's yeah. It's always been about me, this story of me, always. So this is pointing to something else beyond you, and this you can't see beyond itself. So it's so hard for this one because it's not about you. But it seems that in these talks and retreats and things, it seems that this is being pointed to over and over again. This beyond you, beyond this dream you. It seems to open something. It doesn't really open it, but it seems that way. Like something's opening beyond you. And that fear of losing control, of not being the driver, starts. This fear of losing control, the death of you, this fear comes. My daughter's had this fear of dying. My daughter, who's 6, has this fear coming up lately of dying. So this is a strong thing that happens in humans. But there's something else that isn't in that. That's always been free, always free. But this one's been energized, identified with, saying, me, I'm living, this is my life, I'm the be all and end all. But it's just simply not true. And this message points and points and points to this being free, and this not being bound by any idea of a person, This is not true. This is not true. I mean, it's true, isn't it? It's appearing, ideas about there being a me, thoughts, feelings of being limited. But it's not true, as in that's not the reality. It's not the reality. It's not the way this is. That's an idea appearing. It just seems to be appealing away of that, appealing away of ideas and beliefs and stories, like seeing through them. That happens. Again, not by this person, it just happens. This person wants to be a person, it wants to be alive, saying where it is and how far it's progressed. This is not the reality. I don't know, this is a crazy message. It's crazy. Beautiful. Thank you, Sandra. Feel free to add more or say more. One last question. How can the false self try to stay alive? If it isn't real, how does it know to survive at all cost? How can the false self try to stay alive? How can it try to stay alive? It just it's just been a habit that's been repeated for so long. Identification with thought, with the mind. I don't know how, it just happens. It just appears like that. It wants to keep living, it wants to solve its problem, but it is the problem. It's not actual an entity, it's not a person doing it, it's just what happens in humans. It's identification with thinking, but it isn't a personal doing. There's no one for it to do that. It's just what happens. Like it just holds. It holds the thinking. It holds it. It feels as if that thinking mind, that voice, is an actual person in the body. It feels like that. But I have no idea how it happened. It just seems to happen. Like it always needs to have some kind of story, some kind of position, some kind of Yeah. You can respond if you feel you want me to say more on that. It's hard to know with the message whether you feel satisfied or not. Or so please just respond if you feel you want to expand more. Hi Brian, I meant to message you actually. If it's so beyond anything, then surely it's impossible to realise. It's impossible for the intellect to realise. You can have ideas about it, but it can't. It can't know what's being spoken of. So yeah, it's beyond the personal realising. Who would realise this? It's not personal at all. It can't be personal. Who would own this? Who would have this? It can't be a personal realising. That is really helpful to hear that it just happens. Thank you. Yeah. Excuse me. So in fact, the mind can realise things and have begin to own awakening experiences that happen, begin to own understanding that seems to happen. But that is not what is being spoken about. That is really lovely when there's understanding and there's more and more of a resonance with this, and it's opening and releasing things and understanding things. It's really beautiful and it's really relaxing, and you can really move some ideas along. But this understanding mind will never realize this, will never get to the finish line of this. And that can bring up lots of frustration for the mind, because it's learned so much, it's understood so much, and yet still it's seeking, still it's not satisfied, Because this isn't to do with the mind or the intellect. It really isn't. This can just happen without you knowing anything about non-duality or anything. There's one person who I heard who had to learn non-duality language and concepts because they didn't know anything about it. Just this shift just happened, this opening just happened, and they had to then learn non-duality to explain what had happened. So it isn't about learning it. It isn't about learning it. Which is really strange for the minds. Normally we learn something and then we get the paper, the certificate, get the badge. But this isn't like that at all. It's more of an unlearning. These ideas that you are someone, that you're listening, you're looking. That you are your stories, you are your past, you are your future ideas and hopes and dreams. You're responsible for your actions, your emotions, your behaviors. You are good, you are bad, you are kind. Undoing of all these ideas, all these learnings. A little child doesn't have any of these learnings. They haven't learned these things yet. They begin to learn these ideas about who they are, what this is. So in a way, going back to that innocence, to that honesty, back to that, honesty, back to that childlike honesty, to that not knowing, and yet as a grown adult, you know lots of things. You've learned lots of things, ideas, and a lot of stories have happened and descriptions have happened. So no one needs to do anything. I wasn't saying no one needs to do anything. I'm more saying there isn't anyone to do or not do. It's not that it's you don't do anything, you sit and not do anything. It's more a questioning of who this someone is who can now not do anything. That do or not do again is in opposites. Doing happens, moving happens, speaking happens, thinking happens. Who can not do that? It's what appears. Getting hungry happens. Eating maybe, hopefully happens. The question is who is doing that? Is that a someone doing that? Producing thoughts, producing impulses, producing feelings? That's the question. Can the truly impersonal be seen from being a person? Hang on. Can the truly impersonal be seen from being a person? No, the person can't see impersonal. The person or the mind can't see impersonal, not mind. The mind can see mind. A thing can only know things. Thinking of an analogy. I'm terrible at analogies. I'm thinking of maybe the wave of the ocean or the sky and the cloud. So the cloud can't see sky. It can't go, oh, there's sky. It can't do that. The cloud's a cloud. The cloud's an appearance. It can't, it has no volition, separate volition of its own. It can't. The sky is the sky. It's already there. Doesn't need the cloud to say, oh, look, there's sky. Doesn't need the cloud to turn and see it. That's the cloud's idea. It has to now see sky. If there's to be sky, sky is. Sky just is. And always has been. Whether the cloud's there or not there, there's sky. The cloud just can know cloud when cloud's appearing. Whereas the sky, I'm really bad at these analogies. The sky, the sky is sky, whether the cloud is there or not. So sky isn't the clouds realizing. The cloud doesn't wake up to sky. Sky is sky. Sky is sky, beaming, free, vast, unlimited. And the clouds of thoughts, of feelings, of whatever it is, rain, thunder, the sun shining, is irrelevant to sky. Sky is always sky. Now the cloud in the sky, so the character may prefer the sun shining over the thunder or the hail or whatever, but it has no relevance to sky. The cloud can prefer sun, that's fine, but it has no relevance to the sky. The sky is free, whatever. So this isn't a removal of that cloud. The cloud can appear, it cannot appear. It can be a heavy cloud, it can be a light cloud. What's being pointed to is that which is free. Whereas before, the cloud was like filling the sky, as if cloud was the sky. And the cloud was experiencing the sunshine and the hail, and the cloud was experiencing the birds flying through. But it didn't feel comfortable or didn't feel right. I'll end that analogy now, maybe. I've bled it to death. Thank you, Brian. I think the analogy is helpful. Okay, thank you, Sandra. I appreciate your help so much. maybe that's it now. If there are more questions, I don't think. Okay, so thank you for joining. Yeah, I think I'm here Thursday. Just check to make sure my Facebook page. But yeah. Okay, thank you. Bye. Have a good week.